So here's
Sure.
the thing. Just to this is kind of recap. There's a hunting property, cottage, that sort of thing, acreage, in Matt's family. Dad has passed, mom's still alive, competent, happy, healthy, all that. And then the question is, should the original question was, should we do an LLC on this property? And then the real question is, how do we make sure that it moves from one generation to the next in the most safe, secure, and tax advantageous way? And so here's what I'm suggesting is we start with mom. We say, okay, mom's got a house, she's got this property. I don't know what other assets they have. I don't care what other assets they have. My suggestion, as it always is, I'm kind of a one-trick pony on this, is let's protect what mom has against the lawsuits and long-term care. Let's start with mom. And there's the protection
Mhm.
trust that we do. We call it the root cellar trust sometimes, the red wagon. Anyway, we're going to put the stuff in that trust. And then for Medicaid purposes, which is the long-term care, for long-term care purposes, it'll be off the table. Now, if mom does need long-term care, 70% chance at age 65, so most people will be needing long-term care, skilled care. Then the question is, well, where are you hiding these assets? And the answer is we're not hiding anything. We've done thousands, literally thousands of Medicaid applications. And when we do, we disclose everything. We show them what we did, how we did it, why we did it. And it's you just the rules are there. There are rules about this stuff. When you comply, you do fine. Okay. So first of all, we protect it
Okay.
from mom. That's number one. Number two, how do we get it to Matt? Well, we could give it to Matt right away. And one of the things that people used to do is they would put all of their kids, Matt's an only child, but they would put all of their kids on the deed, which is a terrible idea. It's like the worst possible thing you can do, because when you do that, you make the whole family at the mercy of the one kid who decides to be a jerk, right? So you put this joint tenancy on it, or joint tenancy with rights of survivorship. Then you have the one who brings the biker gang or whatever to the cottage on the 4th of July. You can't stop them. And that's the kid who trashes the place. That's the kid who never helps out with the taxes, doesn't maintain it, blah, blah, blah. And you cannot stop that kid because they're a joint owner of the property. This is what you've done when you put the kid on the deed. So please don't do that. Now, what Matt's saying is, okay, mom gives the property, mom dies, and it didn't go to the nursing home or whatever. And now Matt gets the property in a trust so that if Matt is going through a rough patch, if he's having difficulty, right, lawsuit, whatever, then the cottage is not at risk because mom gave it to him in a trust. Now, what if somebody brings people out to the cottage? They cut their hand off, they drown, the fish hook in the eye, all the things that happen in cottages, whatnot. That happens, and now they want to sue Matt. Well, that's why we do the LLC, the limited liability company. Okay. And we're going to wait. Oh, back up a little
Okay.
bit. We're going to wait till mom dies because that will give Matt the largest possible tax basis in the property. But because um, um, he's a kid, we get carryover basis. The trust gives the property to the kid at the same, excuse me, not carryover basis, but without uncapping the taxable value for annual property taxes. You still get mom and dad's rate of tax, not rate of tax, but taxable value on that property. So there's just, if you maneuver it correctly, if you do it correctly, you wind up getting protection against you. Now the property is protected from you. You're protected from the property. Mom doesn't lose it to long-term care. All right. These are the good things that are happening. Now, and that's as far as we got. Here's the next thing. When you leave it to your kids, what people do, there's a guy up in Traverse City, he's passed now, wrote a book on how you do the LLC for the cottage. Okay. And it's like, it was so
Okay.
much better than what everybody was doing that it was like, oh, this is wonderful. Well, yeah, it was better. Okay. But you don't leave a cottage to your kids because you can't figure out how to sell it and give them money. You leave the cottage or the hunting property or whatever else it is you got. You leave that to the kids because you want your kids and your grandkids and your great grandkids to enjoy that opportunity. Because guess what? It ain't coming again. See, Matt is not in the position to buy the property. At least I don't think you are. To buy the property at today's prices that mom and dad bought 25, 30 years ago. You can't do it. Right? I mean, have you looked at what cottage?
Right.
Yeah, it's crazy. So if you don't hold on to it for the next generations won't have that experience, won't have that opportunity. And that's enormous. So what we do
Right.
when it goes from that to the next generation, because here's the thing, people will do these LLCs and stuff like that. And as soon as anybody wants out, they all get out. And when you do the LLC, you have to let the minority owners get out. You have to cash them out. And there's always a buy-sell agreement. Oh, we'll pay you over 10 years. It'll be 2 times the state equalized value. It'll be some discounted value, and it's over a period of time. But it doesn't matter. My experience is it doesn't matter. Whenever one of them pulls the trigger, they all jump out of the airplane. I mean, they all, forget it. The cottage is gone. So we don't let them do that. All right. This is why I call it the national park model, because Matt, you're setting up the national park of Matt. And if you don't want to come, you don't want to come, don't come. We don't care. Fine. Great grandkid. You don't want it. I mean, that's fine. But we're maintaining it for the heirs of the body, for the bloodline. Okay. So 5 generations from now, you don't have one selfish kid who decided to cash in, right? And now it's lost to everybody. Screw that. We're going to hold it together like a national park. See, that's the thing. Think about it like it's a national park. Yosemite would be long gone if Abraham Lincoln or Ulysses S. Grant, I guess it was, set it up as the first, or was it Yellowstone? I don't know. It was one of those out in California. Yellowstone or Yosemite got set up as the first national park. Well, it'd be full of apartments by now if they hadn't done that. Okay. So and now that's what you're doing for your family. Do you see?
Right. And conceptually, that's what I was trying to get: the property and an LLC, along with enough cash assets, whatever, that it can be self-sustainable for generations to come. It can pay for its own property taxes and not become a burden on those members or family members in the LLC. And so that's my long-term goal, is to make it self-sufficient so it's not a burden on them, but also they have a bad time. They can't just cash it out and sell off the asset either.
Right. The one thing I would say though is, and I've got like 30 seconds. The one thing I would say is do a budget, or have the trustee do a budget, sinking fund on all the properties, and charge them. All right. If you don't pay for it, you don't appreciate it. Now I'm all for the endowment. But charge them anyway. That's my suggestion.
Great. Thanks, David.
Thank you.